It is Monday, November 21st, 2022. The Tin and J Man Show. I wanted to say Thanksgiving Eve, but it's not Thanksgiving Eve yet. Pre-Thanksgiving episode is coming at you, episode 314, live on the ISC Sports Network, live on the Tin and J Man Show Facebook page, the ISC Sports Network Twitter page. Twitter is still a thing as of now.
Yes, hanging on for dear life.
Hanging on for dear life. And it's also, of course, streaming on all of your favorite audio platforms. So whichever audio platform you prefer and you're listening to this episode on right now, please stop what you're doing. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a 5-star rating and review if you haven't done that already. We appreciate that. With all that said, I'm Tanner Lee. My co-host, Josh the J-Man Muntz, next to me on the computer screen in the state of Illinois. What's going on, J-Man?
I wish it was Thanksgiving Eve because I'm ready to mess up some food. I'll tell you that much.
Mess it up, huh?
Yeah. What's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
I do like turkey, but it's not my favorite. Like noodles, like chicken and noodles.
Well, chicken and
My
noodles.
grandma makes some good chicken and noodles usually on Thanksgiving.
Man,
But I like mashed potatoes. I like macaroni cheese. I like pie.
Oh, pie.
Yeah. I'm not a big stuffing guy. You a stuffing guy?
I don't like stuffing either.
No.
Yeah, I don't like stuffing either. I prefer the dark meat on the turkey to the white.
Yeah.
The white gets
Yeah.
white gets a little dry. We
Yep.
usually do a ham as well, which I like ham.
Yep.
My grandmother makes great gravy, mashed potatoes and gravy. My mom makes a cheesy corn casserole that's really good. Man, I'm hungry. I am hungry.
Have you ever had turducken before?
I'm not. I'm not a big duck guy. I've noticed. So no, I've not.
Okay. All right.
What about
Fair
you?
enough. I have had turducken before.
Have you?
Yes. So, yeah, I was young though. I was really young. It's meat on top of meat on top of meat. So I figured you'd probably be a fan.
I'm a meaty guy.
All right. With all that said, do you have a pivotal
do.
Birdie or Bogey question
Yes,
for me this week?
it is pivotal too. I believe I'm still. Am I 2 up on you? I'm still 2 strokes up and 5 up.
Yeah. If I miss this one tonight, it might be sayonara on me winning Birdie or Bogey trivia for 2022.
You have a really good chance to get a.
God.
To get a par, I will say that. Derrick Henry ran for his 10th rushing touchdown of the season. He became the 5th player in NFL history to score 10 rushing touchdowns in 5 straight seasons. Who are the other 4 running backs to have done this? I'm feeling very giving as it's the week of Thanksgiving. 2 for a par, 3 for a birdie, 4 for a birdie. I'm not going to give you an eagle or anything. But,
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
I don't think you'll get all 4, but I think you got a chance to get 3.
I appreciate that.
Should get at least a par, but again, it's kind of the kiss of death.
Oh, it's always the kiss of death.
Yeah. Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC for fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. Get your veggies.
And they got really good merchandise, too, on their website, so go check that out. And speaking of merchandise, the Tan and J-Man Show store.com has a bunch of Tan and J-Man Show merchandise out there for the Tan and J-Man Show Nation. So if you need something for the holidays, it is Black Friday coming up this Friday. So maybe you'll see a promotion code or 2 on the website. Look at our social media channels for that. But if you're, shopping for a t-shirt, whether that be short sleeve, long sleeve, a hoodie, coffee mug, sticker for your laptop, whatever it may be, we got it on our store. So once again, that's tanandjmanshowstore.com.
Yes, sir. Do you just want to start off by getting educated today?
Yeah, I feel not so bright today. So
I have it pulled up here, but on this day in 1925, the Galloping Ghost Red Grange plays his final football game at the University of Illinois, and then he signed with the Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
On this day in 1934, the New York Yankees bought Joe DiMaggio from the San Francisco Seals of the Pacific Coast League.
That's an awesome name, and I did not know
It is.
he was never affiliated with the Yankees to begin with.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I don't know how that worked all back in the day, because the Pacific Coast League now is a AAA, so I don't know if the San Francisco Seals were like a minor league affiliate. I don't know how that worked back in the day. Could have purchased his contract, but he played for the Seals, and that is a pretty cool name.
The Seals.
On this day in 1949, Bill Veeck sells the Cleveland Indians for $22 million to fund his divorce settlement. That is an expensive divorce.
Yeah, it's not cheap. Not by any means.
On this day in 1970, the New York Knickerbockers played their first ever game in the NBA when they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 102-94.
1970, huh? I would have guessed they were older than that.
Me too. On this day in 73, Pete Rose won MLB's National League MVP.
Put him in the hall.
Might as well put him in the hall. I don't want him associated with baseball besides the hall. Deserves to get in the hall. I don't want him around, though. He is, there's something about him. Not many people like him. On this day in 1982, who won the 32nd NASCAR Sprint Cup?
82. Richard Petty.
And if this was Birdie Bogey, it might be a good omen for you, even though you're wrong. Darrell Waltrip.
Waltrip? Okay. DW.
On this day in 1999, who won the 51st NASCAR Sprint Cup?
99. Could have been Dale. Could have been Jeff. Could have been somebody like Mark Martin or Bill Elliott. I'm going to go Jeff Gordon, though.
It was a Dale, but it wasn't Earnhardt.
Dale
Jarrett.
Gosh, dang it.
Who won the 56th NASCAR Sprint Cup in 2004?
So that's before Jimmy Johnson won it. I think Kurt...
Brushing you up on your NASCAR.
I think Kurt Busch won it 03. So it'd been between Busch and Johnson, I think. Or did Tony Stewart win it in 05? Let's try Jeff Gordon again.
Kurt Busch.
I thought I did 03. Dang it. The 97 Sharpie car and the Crown Royal car. I remember that. But darn it.
Couldn't tell you that. That is going to do it for On This Day, November 21st.
I like that there's some NASCAR in there, but man, I probably would have been good at that about 10 years ago. I
remember you had you were up on the NASCAR trivia back
I was. I need to start studying up again just for the On This Day, which is brought to you by Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a 100% custom woodcraft sign shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide anything from signs to grow charts. Their custom pieces make a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. To see some of their recently completed projects, visit them on Instagram and on Facebook at Mooney Woodcrafts. And for custom orders, you can contact them via email, moodywoodcrafts@gmail.com. Perfect holiday gift for the sports fan in your family.
Mm-hmm. The Moon Dog. What do you want to start with tonight?
Let's start with some college basketball.
College hoops?
Yeah, college hoops. Which, since we're doing that, can I get my word association out of the way?
Beautiful. Do it.
It is college basketball related, but Indiana high school hoops related. Ooh. And I got to give my dad, Eric Lee, a shout out for this one. He gave me this list last week for this week. I got the last 10 Indiana Mr. Basketballs to not be drafted in the NBA.
That's a good one.
And we will go from most recent back.
Biggie for the win.
Starting with Chris Wilkes. He played at North Central High School in Indianapolis and then went on to play at UCLA.
Yeah, he was kind of a bust, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. I completely forgot about him.
Me too. Until this moment, I'm like, Chris Wilkes, who was that? But no, the only reason why I kind of remember him is because he was kind of down to Illinois and UCLA.
How did I know Illinois was going to be? How did I know Illinois was going to be in this?
Illinois finishes runner-up to every recruit in the nation. Yeah, he wasn't that great, was he? And he was supposed to be a
No,
superstar.
I mean, yeah. Usually, Mr. Basketball's paying out a little better than he did. So,
Yeah.
next guy on this list, I know he's always talked about in my household to this day from my dad, Zach Irvin, Hamilton Southeastern, then went on to play at Michigan.
He was a Purdue killer.
Yeah, there was a game up in Ann Arbor to where he was struggling, and I made a comment how he couldn't make anything, and then I think he went off for like 21 in the second half.
I remember that.
Purdue
Yeah,
barely lost the game.
He was a solid player for Michigan. He was never their best player.
Nope.
Those were decent Beeline teams, but not great Beeline teams with them. So
Jordan Holes, Bloomington South, went on and stayed in the town of Bloomington to play at IU.
Rochester grad Bruce Grimm Jr. was runner-up to Jordan Holes that year. Jordy, great shooter, obviously. Good Indiana teams. I think most people knew coming out of high school that he wasn't going to get drafted. So it was kind of a weaker year, if I remember, in Indiana for high school basketball in 2009.
Also
as far
had
as players go.
Well, he also had NBA wise definitely, because Derek Elston finished in that Mr. Basketball. I think Travis Carroll finished in that Mr. Basketball, and there was somebody else in that top 5 that played Division I.
Yeah, it wasn't a great. Was Deshaun Thomas? I mean, he would only been a junior, which so was Travis Carroll.
DJ Bird, I believe.
Oh, DJ Bird. Okay.
Yeah, Travis Carroll was not. Travis Carroll was not then. Travis Carroll was the following year. I got that screwed up.
I want to say Elston was 08 too.
Was he 08? See,
I'm
way
pretty
off.
sure he was 08.
Maybe I'm way off.
But still, wasn't a great class.
Luke Zeller, Washington High School, then went on to play at Notre Dame.
The worst of the Zellers, Tyler and Cody were a little better, but what was he the one? Did he hit a half quarter or something?
To beat Plymouth.
That's right. To beat Plymouth. Yeah.
Beat Kyle Binge and Sheets and some of the other guys that went to play small college basketball. Yeah, hit a half court to win it.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. AJ Ratliff, another guy from North Central, went on to play at IU.
He was an Illinois killer, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember him very well, to be honest. That was Mike Davis era, so
wasn't great, and those teams weren't that good either. Probably towards the tail end of the Davis era, right? They had gone to the national championship game, and I don't know if Ratliff was a part of that one.
I don't believe he was.
Or not, but I remember him more at the end of the Davis era.
Justin Cage from Indianapolis Pike went on to play at Xavier.
I remember him at Xavier. Yeah, good player too at Xavier. Good player. He played at Pike, huh?
Mm-hmm. Another guy at Pike, and this guy looked like he was going to be an NBA guy at one time and then never came to. Chris Thomas, who went on to play at Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a great 4-year player at Notre Dame. I remember him going off against Illinois in the NCAA tournament back in
I was at that game.
03, I want to say.
Yep, I was at that game because it was Notre Dame's first time making Sweet 16 in a long time.
Yeah, I think they were either it was a 4-5 game. I remember. Mm-hmm. I don't remember who was 5. It was 4. But yeah, Chris Thomas, great point guard at Notre Dame.
Yeah, he was on that team. Chris Quinn, Colin Falls was on that team. Yeah, some good guys on that team. And then the game after that in Indianapolis, Dwayne Wade and Marquette beat Missouri. So Dwayne Wade, Travis Diener, cool. Tom Crean led Marquette that made the Final Four that year. 3 more here. Jason Gardner, also of North Central.
Went to Arizona?
Yes, went to Arizona, and then was IUPUI's coach a few years ago before getting relinquished of his duties.
Yeah, he good. I mean, he was there was he at Arizona with like Gilbert Arenas?
Yep, Luke Walton,
Richard Jefferson.
Yep, they were the runner-up to Duke in 2001. Yep.
Yeah, they shot about 90 free throws against Illinois in the Elite Eight, and I still see Illinois fans complaining about that one. But yeah, he was terrible head coach at IUPUI.
Next guy up, IU fan favorite, a Purdue, one of the most hated guys of Purdue fans to this day, Tom Coverdale of Noblesville.
You guys have talked about him a lot over the years, and I can honestly say I do not remember a single thing about Tommy Coverdale at Indiana.
He was on that runner-up team.
Mm-hmm. Just that hustle dork, like I like to call him. Or was he better than a hustle dork?
He was a little better than a hustle dork, I would say. I mean, he started a majority of his career there. I don't remember what his strengths were. I mean, I remember watching him play, but I mean, we were in fourth grade when he graduated. I believe he played that national championship against Maryland not 100%. I believe he tweaked an ankle in the Final Four against Oklahoma, I think. I could be mistaken, though. And last on this list, Luke Recker of DeKalb played at IU, Arizona technically, even though he never played a game, and then Iowa.
Yeah, Luke Recker. I remember him hitting a buzzer beater against Indiana when he was with Iowa in the Big Ten tournament. I was able to meet him and have a picture with him when I was in fourth grade. My uncle got in a really bad car accident. He was a huge Iowa fan, and Luke Recker showed up, and that was right after Recker's bad accident as well. When that was when he was at Arizona, right? He got in that accident.
Yes. Yep.
We somehow got in contact with. I think Mike Barnett is the one that got us in contact with Luke Recker, and he showed up at the University of Iowa Hospital, and I got to meet him, and he was really tall. I think he was only 6'6", but he seemed like he was 9 feet tall when I was in fourth grade.
Those were some good Iowa teams with Luke Recker, Reggie Evans, who had a long career in the NBA, Brody Boyd.
Good rebounder. Yeah.
There was a guy named Freeman, I believe, was a guard.
Tony Freeman, I think.
Pierre Pierce, I think, was a freshman on that team. They had some talent, but he was lucky to get. I mean, of course, the car accident was the reason he was granted transfer, but that was before the transfer rules are like they are today.
Yeah.
So it was very rare if you saw a guy transfer 2 times.
Yeah.
So.
That was a good list.
Yeah, that's going to do it for the Word Association segment, which is brought to you by Proforma Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for a fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815.
College hoops. It's a fun time for college hoops because it's right when kind of the season's getting underway, but we see great matchups with the holiday tourneys going on. The Maui started today. We had some really good tournament in Vegas over the weekend, and a few other really good tournaments. So it's an exciting time. College football is kind of winding down. It's hard to believe. It feels like college football just started, and here we are in the last week of the season.
I know.
Now college hoops is heating up significantly.
Yeah, we had the Gavitt games between the Big Ten and the Big East,
right.
Which were pretty entertaining last week. Like you said, we got a lot of good conference tourneys this week. The next we got the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Yeah. So this is really where college basketball grabs that dial and kind of turns it up a notch. So that's it.
I think 3 Big Ten teams have now entered, or is it 3 or 4 Big Ten teams have entered the rankings this week?
There's a total of 6 in the rankings.
There's 6 total. So 1 left, and that was Michigan after getting blown out by Arizona State. But Michigan State rose from unranked all the way up to 12th. Purdue's ranked, 24th?
Yep, 24th. Iowa's 25th.
Iowa's 25th, and Maryland's 23rd. So those are the new teams in the rankings after only having 3 coming into the year. Now up to 6 with Indiana at 11th and Illinois at 16, which is rare for a team to rise up 3 spots in the rankings after losing a game, which Illinois did yesterday. But I was very happy with their performance in Vegas, beating the 8th ranked. I don't know what UCLA is ranked now after they lost.
Because they lost again, didn't they, out there?
Yeah, they lost to Baylor by 5. But I was hoping for a 1-1. I mean, obviously I'm hoping for 2-0, but at the very least I was hoping to get just 1. And I thought the way it would happen, they'd lose to UCLA and then beat Virginia in the consolation game. And it was the exact opposite. They beat UCLA and then lost to Virginia in the championship game.
Right.
So I was very happy. I mean, this team is 344th in the country in returning minutes this year, 310th in total experience, and then you play 2 of the most experienced teams in basketball, college basketball, UCLA and Virginia, and beat UCLA. I think they had a 1-point lead with 2.5 minutes left against Virginia. It's kind of folded down the stretch, but as I said, be up and down in the non-con, and I think by a Big Ten play, they'll be a pretty dang good group. So I feeling pretty good about where they're heading.
Yeah, like I said, it was an interesting week around the Big Ten. Michigan got waxed and darn near lost last night to Ohio.
Yeah.
Won in overtime and a crazy finish there. But looking back over the weekend, we saw Maryland smack Miami, Florida yesterday by 18. Indiana took care of Miami, Ohio. Earlier in the week, they took care of Xavier. Didn't take care of them, but they won by 2. A really good game over there in the Cintas Center. Penn State looks like won against Colorado State.
They're receiving votes, too, Penn State is, for top 25. They've looked pretty good so far.
Yeah, they did lose by 2 on Friday to Virginia Tech. Michigan State beat Villanova last week.
And they beat Kentucky as well.
And they beat Kentucky. And Kentucky lost to Gonzaga.
By Gonzaga.
Yep, and Gonzaga got killed by Texas.
Yeah,
And then Northwestern beat Georgetown to Gavitt games.
Georgetown's awful.
Purdue beat Marquette by 5 after being down 7, if not 9, at one point in the second half.
Really? I didn't know that.
Then their defense clamped down the last 10 minutes, and there was a 5-minute stretch where Marquette didn't score a bucket. And Zach Edey kind of dominated the second half, and Braden Smith had a little run himself. So he was named Big Ten Freshman of the Week this week, and Terrence help me, Shannon, right? Shannon was named Big Ten Player of the Week for Illinois. Penn State did beat Butler on Monday last week, and DePaul beat Minnesota on Monday last week. So,
yeah, Minnesota's bad. Nebraska's bad. They were up 7 on St. John's at halftime in St. John's. Like, man, Nebraska looks halfway decent. Gave up 50 points and lost by 20 in the in the in the second half. So. Same old Nebraska. Minnesota looks bad. Northwestern, again, they beat Georgetown. Georgetown's one of the worst Power 6 or whatever, high majors in college basketball. So it's kind of shaping up exactly how we thought it would be so far, except Michigan. Michigan's been a little disappointing.
3-0 Ohio State plays 3-0 number 17th ranked San Diego State tonight in Hawaii. Iowa hosts Omaha. Minnesota hosts Cal Baptist.
That's
tomorrow,
in California.
Okay. Yeah. Rutgers hosts Ryder tomorrow. Northwestern
is in Cancun.
Mexico against Liberty, who's 2-2. Dayton plays Wisconsin on Wednesday. I'm not sure where that game's at. Nassau.
Yeah, it's in Bahamas.
Yep. Little Rock plays Indiana. That game's, I believe, at Indiana. Yes, it is on Wednesday. Jackson State plays Michigan. And then Thursday, Purdue plays West Virginia in a late one, 10 o'clock Eastern time. That's out in Portland. The winner of that game is most likely going to get Gonzaga the following night.
Oh,
Xavier, Florida, Duke, and somebody else is the rest of that side of the tournament. Oklahoma and Nebraska play on the hardwood. Thursday, not football, the old football rivalry. That's the down in Orlando. And Alabama plays Michigan State. Alabama's ranked 18th. That game is also in Portland. Like I said, Michigan State's on the opposite side. And then Iowa plays Clemson Friday. That game is in Florida. Illinois plays Lindenwood. Didn't even know they're
first year D1.
Oh, okay.
First year D1. Yep, they're in the Ohio Valley.
And then really nothing on the schedule on the weekend docket yet. So,
which I figured with last college football Saturday, I can't imagine they'd schedule too many games.
True.
Over the weekend,
True.
Maybe
especially being rivalry week. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I'm like you for this tournament. I would be thrilled with 2-1 for Purdue. 2-1, beat West Virginia, give Gonzaga all they can handle. And then either beat most likely Xavier or Florida and call it a good tournament. So
yeah, absolutely.
Because then they only get 1 day of rest before they travel clear to Florida State cross country.
Which Florida State's looking garbage.
They are, but it won't be. It won't be an easy game.
It never is it?
Guarantee you that, especially down there, it won't be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoops.
I don't have, but I have not watched a lot of basketball outside the Big Ten. So
I've watched just a little bit. Mainly just the Illinois games, but I actually have some Terrence Shannon stats here. Terrence Shannon is the first player in 6 years to score at least 29 points, have 10 boards, and make 8 threes with an over 80% 3-point percentage. He was unbelievable on Friday night against UCLA. 8 of 9 from the free throw line, or from the 3-point line. He carried them a majority of that game. And it was good to see that this Illinois team has more depth than they've had in a while, because literally their ninth guy came in and changed the entire game in the second half. He came in down 12. They started pressing Tiger Campbell, Sincere Harris. He's a freshman. Couple steals in a row, got right back in it, and ended up taking the lead after getting down 15 in the second half. So that is, but that's the extent of the college basketball I've watched is Illinois up to this point.
Indiana does look pretty good so far. Like I said, they got a good non-conference road win at Xavier. It was back and forth, and Indiana had, I think, an 8-point lead with about 2.5 minutes to go, and then Xavier had a shot to win the game at the end and missed the layup and had a foul and ended up losing by 2. So it's still weird to see Sean Miller back there, but good win for Indiana. Trace Jackson-Davis playing at a really high level so far. Xavier Johnson scored a bunch on Friday night against Xavier, so if he can do that, that makes them even a better team. So, we'll see next week when they host, as of right now, number 1 North Carolina in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. We'll see exactly what they're made of. So.
I did watch a majority of that game, I guess, but Trace Jackson-Davis looks so much more improved than where he was. They still seem like they're going to struggle shooting the ball, though, which that could be a major issue going forward.
Sure, absolutely. So, anything else college basketball related?
I don't have anything else college basketball related, no.
Well, got a lot on both football, collegiately and professionally this week to talk about. So let's go ahead and start talking about college football. And it's rivalry week this week. And I guess what I'm going to ask you is a little mix of college football and college basketball. Since it's rivalry week, I thought it'd be fun to name, in our personal opinion, the top 5 college football rivalries and college basketball rivalries. Let's go ahead and start with college basketball since we were just talking college basketball.
College basketball, obviously Duke UNC. That's number 1.
That's my number 1 as well.
In my opinion. Number 2, I actually have 3 Big Ten rivalries on there because I couldn't think of many.
I know, it was tough.
It was tough. Probably Indiana, Purdue. Now, a lot of that is fan-driven because I don't think the teams hate each other as much as they used to, because the couple other matchups on this is like Cincinnati Xavier. They hate each other.
You're taking are you just reading my list?
Iowa, Illinois hate each other. They're on my list. They're
okay. That one is not on my list.
That has turned the past 3 years into one of the better rivalries in the Big Ten basketball. I also have Michigan State, Michigan on this list.
And my number 1 is Duke UNC. Number 2 is IU Purdue. Number 3, Kentucky Louisville. That's a pretty good one. I almost put
Kentucky Louisville on there. Louisville's trash now, though.
Number 4, Michigan State. Number 5, Xavier and Cincinnati. Some others. There's a lot of I don't know, but a lot of them have got ruined by the conference realignments.
Yes.
You used to have a lot of good Big East ones, but now a lot of those teams are the ACC and some are in the Big East. Georgetown, Syracuse, Villanova, Georgetown. Georgetown's not very good anymore. Even ACC-wise, Duke and Maryland used to be a good one. Now they don't play. Maryland's in the Big Ten. So I was a little bit Big Ten. I only had 2 of the 5, I guess, Big Ten, but I was kind of right there with you. I couldn't really think of any Pac-12 ones.
No, because that's more of a football conference. Big 12 is more of a football conference. Kansas, I don't even know who Kansas' biggest rival would be. Would it be Missouri? But or
Kansas State.
That's maybe, but neither of those schools have been worth anything here recently.
In SEC, I feel like Kentucky's so much more of a basketball school compared to the rest. I guess it'd be Kentucky, Florida, maybe. I don't know.
Even then, though, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I probably would have put Illinois, Missouri on that list.
Yeah, I thought about that.
It's really not that great. It's kind of a cool rivalry because it's split right down the middle, orange on one side, black and gold on the other. But the games haven't been that good recently. I don't remember last time both teams have been good when they played each other, maybe 2 years ago, but that was a COVID year, so it was weird. So
Indiana, Kentucky's one you could have put 10 years ago, but they don't play each other,
Yeah,
even though
don't play each
they're
other.
rumored to
Yeah,
pick it back up, but they don't play each other anymore. So,
yeah.
yeah, this was harder than the college football one.
It was. College football one was fairly
Even the college
easy.
football was hard to narrow down to 5, I will say.
It
I have
was.
a lot of honorable mention. So,
Yeah.
go ahead, start off college football.
I mean, Michigan, Ohio State
That's my number one.
would be my number one. I was thinking of SEC, like Bama Auburn used to be great.
That's my number 2.
And that is my number 2 as well. But now Auburn, and I assume they're gonna. Did they already fire Harsin? Yes. Yeah. Cadillac Williams is their interim.
They'll probably play them tough though. I mean,
Oh yeah, they probably will. Texas, Oklahoma is 3.
That's my number 4. My number 3 is Army Navy.
That's a good one. I wasn't even thinking Army Navy. Notre Dame USC is 4 for me.
That did not crack my top 5, but that's an honorable mention, and I don't know why. I guess maybe because I don't know too many USC fans.
That could be.
I don't know.
It seemed like it was better back in the day, and maybe now that USC has turned back into a power, with Lincoln Riley, it'll get there again. But yeah, the luster's kind of worn off a little bit. It feels like. My final one, BYU, Utah, the Holy War.
That's a good one. My number 5 might turn some heads. I have the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State, Mississippi.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
They play on Thanksgiving usually. They're usually both pretty good, and Ole Miss has been really good as of late, even though they were awful this weekend against Arkansas.
They usually play like Thanksgiving night too. It feels
yes,
like.
Thanksgiving night. Another good one, but they don't play anymore. But they will once Texas joins the SECs. Texas A&M, Texas. Used to be a good one. Oklahoma, Nebraska used to be a good one.
What was the backyard brawl? Was that Pitt, West Virginia?
Pitt, West Virginia, which they did play this year, but the conference realignments ruined that. Oklahoma State, Bedlam, which just happened over the weekend. That's a pretty good one. Oregon State, but that's usually one-sided. Washington State. I was trying to think the Big Ten's next biggest one's probably Michigan State.
Probably.
Because they hate each other. I think they hate each other worse than Michigan and Ohio State.
Probably, yeah. But other than that, I don't really think of. I mean, Purdue Indiana's a rivalry, but it's a basketball rivalry.
Yep. And it's been one-sided historically.
And it's been one-sided. Nebraska Iowa's kind of turned into a rivalry because they play on the Friday of and they border each other.
Right. Minnesota Wisconsin's not a bad one.
It's not a bad one
for what they play for.
I mean, you look at the schools that play in the same state, Illinois Northwestern. Who cares?
At one time, I would have said Miami. I almost put this, but Miami, Florida, and Florida State.
Yeah.
And then Florida State, Florida's another good one because they play every year. Now, Florida and Miami don't play every year, which is just kind of weird.
Georgia, Florida, that's the
world's largest cocktail party.
Yeah.
Alabama, Tennessee. I guess this year because Tennessee finally beat them. I know it's always played on the second week in October, so that's always a big one. Non-Division One, DePaul and Wabash for the Monon Bell. Big time because they've played so many times. I think 148 times, if I'm not mistaken. Harvard, Yale, as my dad just texted me. That's a good one. There's a lot of good ones in college football.
Yeah.
Stanford, Cal, even though they stink, but
yeah, both teams do now.
Yeah. It was fun to think on some of those.
I did have a hard time with the college basketball one.
Yeah, it's just rivalries are different in basketball. It's really different. I mean, you can almost make a case like, as a Purdue fan, I think most Purdue fans' second least favorite team is Michigan State. They've kind of tried to make that into their own rivalry, with the fan base, even though it's really not. It's just easier to have one basketball rival. In football, you can have multiple because there's in basketball, I guess there's some years you only play teams one time.
Yeah.
Football, there's certain teams you play every year.
And you look, and some, even though they don't play every year, they have rivalry trophies like the Ella Buck, the Illinois Ohio State, which has been a bloodbath.
I forgot about that.
It's been a bloodbath. Obviously, Purdue Illinois plays for the Cannon. Purdue Indiana plays for the Old Oaken Bucket.
Yeah. You got the Paul Bunyan's axe. You got the Little Brown Jug.
Yeah.
The Floyd of Rosedale, the pig. A A lot of good trophies.
Yeah.
My Uncle Nick said DePaul versus Wabash. I did mention that one.
You did. Yeah.
So
Which that was that 2
Just
weeks ago?
2
Or a
weeks
week?
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monon Bell game. Yeah, ISC. It was right here live on the ISC Sports
Yeah,
Network.
that's right.
But college football, man, it's another crazy weekend. Nationally, we saw TCU survive at Baylor. I mean, that was impressive for that kicker to run on with not much time. Didn't even really do his warm up. Nails, kick it through. Tennessee just blew every playoff chance. They just got destroyed by South Carolina, and unfortunately for them, Hayden Hooker out for the year with a torn ACL. But their playoff hopes are dashed now.
Done.
It potentially opens up a door for maybe the Big Ten to get 2 teams in.
Yeah. Michigan survived a scare.
Yes, they did.
Helped by a clear offensive pass interference on a third down, I believe, which at this point, who cares? But it was a little suspicious. The Big Ten wanting 2 teams in there. But
even Ohio State didn't play very well. I mean, it was a close game down to the wire. So the Big Ten games were pretty close this weekend.
Yeah, all of them were pretty close.
Saw Indiana come back from a 24-7 deficit to beat Michigan State in overtime. And unless Michigan State goes into Happy Valley and wins, they're not making a bowl.
What a terrible season for them.
Yeah, that was a collapse. I was looking at our Big Ten predictions today, and you're doing a lot better than I did season predictions-wise. I'm going to pull them up here on my phone real quick. Because we only got 1 week to go. So I thought I might as well see what we predicted. For the West, I had Purdue going 10-2. Well, that's not happening. They can get 8-4 at best. I had Wisconsin 9-3. That's not happening. They are bowl eligible now after beating Nebraska, but
barely beating Nebraska.
I don't know if Jim Leonard's going to be the guy, Josh.
I don't think so. They've lost 3 or 4 decommits here in the past week or so. So I think the rumors are not good for him.
I had Minnesota 9-3. That's not happening. They lost to Iowa. They fumbled twice in the red zone. Iowa had 8-4, which that's a good possibility. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
I had Nebraska 6-6. Nope. I had Illinois 4-8. They definitely proved me wrong. And I had Northwestern 3-9. That's not even going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
They can do to its head. On the East, I did a little better. I had Ohio State 12-0, which could happen.
The East is easier to predict, too.
It is. I got Michigan 11-1. Really whiffed on this one, though. I had Michigan State 9-3. I had Penn State 7-5. Maryland 6-6. Rutgers 3-9, and Indiana 3-9. You had Wisconsin 10-2.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Iowa 8-4. So that's right there. Minnesota 7-5. Right there. Purdue 7-5. Right there. Illinois 6-6. Nebraska 5-7. And Northwestern 3-9. So you didn't do too bad with the West. Bad. East, you had Ohio State 12-0, Michigan 11-1, Penn State 8-4, Michigan State 8-4, Maryland 7-5, and both Rutgers and Indiana 3-9.
What's Rutgers at? They got to be close to 3-9, right? They're 3-8. It's tough playing in the East, but it felt like they were better last year than they were this year.
Yeah, Rutgers is 4-7.
Oh, better than I thought. Not great, but better than I thought.
Yeah. Well, they started off 3-0, I think. If my memory serves me correctly, so
because they beat like Temple or something.
Yeah.
Right? Oh no, Boston College. Man, that's a good win against Boston College, and then Boston College falls flat on their face.
Yeah. With 3
wins.
Year, Shut out by Notre Dame over the weekend in a snowy game up in South Bend.
Yeah.
Which now Notre Dame's. If they beat USC. They win 9 games, but USC's another team. They beat UCLA. Now, if they win against Notre Dame, then win the Pac-12 championship, they'll be in the playoffs.
Got to be in. Have to be.
And Caleb Williams might end up winning the Heisman.
He might. Yeah, he's been awfully good, dang good.
But the game between Michigan and Ohio State, which is going to be hyped up as the biggest game of the year, number 2 against number 3, once the playoff rankings come out tomorrow, that's got some Heisman Trophy.
Implications?
Consider implications on the line. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Haven't heard anything about Blake Corum. He hurt his knee in the first half, and I don't think he played the rest of the game against Illinois.
Right.
And then obviously C.J. Stroud, and who knows, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. will get some get
Yeah.
some votes as well.
Yeah, it was a cold weekend of football around the Big Ten, though. It was
I
very cold.
You could have paid me enough money to sit out there at Ross-Ade Stadium, but how bad was it?
It was, I guess, the 5th coldest game in Ross-Ade
I
history.
believe it was freezing on Saturday.
You and I were at one colder. Joe Tiller's last game.
That was a colder day, huh?
1 or 2 degrees colder. I remember you couldn't feel your toes.
I couldn't feel my feet for at least 36 hours afterwards.
But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Really?
It was cold, don't get me wrong. It seemed like it got worse in the 4th quarter. But just an ugly football game. Purdue couldn't get it going.
I saw a thing that just ticks me off. Purdue gets an interception, and the guy high steps a little bit, and they called it back.
Yep.
Big Ten officials suck. I hate them.
It's a rule that got implemented, I think, 2 or 3 years ago by the NCAA, because it used to be you would get flagged for that sort of thing, but you got 15 yards back or whatever it is on the extra point. You wouldn't get it called back, but now it's gets called back.
Let the kids have fun.
Jalen Graham did it, and he started high stepping at 30, but it wasn't even an awful high step.
It wasn't.
Which I was more mad he was doing that because the field was slippery. I'm like, if you slip and fall doing that, you just and really, I think if that play stood, I think Purdue blows them out.
Probably.
It kind of kept Northwestern in the game.
Yeah.
And Northwestern was playing a third-string quarterback who wasn't very good at throwing the ball, so they were just running it, and they did a pretty good job of running the ball. But I thought Purdue's defense still played pretty well. It's just their offense couldn't really get it going, and their starting running back, Devin Mockbee, was banged up the first series of the game. He got a concussion, but it looks like he is going to be able to play against Indiana. Assuming he passes protocols, but I think it's going the right direction. So, I'm just happy to get the win. Get out of there, get the win, and you still have a chance at the West. Now you need Nebraska's help. Probably not going to happen, but even if you win, you still get a share of the West. And you're 8-4, and you still go to probably a decent bowl. So.
Decent bowl.
Yeah.
Speaking of pick'em, we tied last week, which we've done a couple times this year. But Nebraska at Iowa Friday afternoon.
Yes, 4:00 game. I'm going to be a big Cornhusker fan this week, which doesn't happen very often, but I unfortunately don't see them getting it done. I see Iowa representing the Big Ten West for the second straight year in Lucas Oil. I have Iowa for 4 confident points.
They literally should just have Ohio State and Michigan play each other back-to-back weeks for the Big Ten championship. I'm going to help you out here a little bit, Tandem Man. This will be the J-Man's Book It prediction of the week. Iowa will beat Nebraska and go to the Big Ten championship game. Hard to believe. 3 weeks ago, talking about Iowa, his team sucks. Kirk Ferentz isn't even going to be back, and now they have the highest odds to get to the Big Ten championship.
How does that help me out, though? I want to know. You said you're going to help me out, and then
that helps you out because I'm terrible.
I got you. I thought, okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. I
don't. Yeah, I think I've done better this year than I have in years past. But I'm gonna help you out because usually I get them wrong. But Iowa 2 confidence points. J-Man's Book of Prediction of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent Travis Watchering for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watchering@infb.com. Michigan at Ohio State.
The game. It's finally a week I'm not putting 7 on Ohio State. I am picking Ohio State because they're the home team, and I do think they are a little better, even though they haven't played fantastic as of late. But I'm only taking the Buckeyes for 2.
I have Ohio State for 7. They're not losing back-to-back years to Michigan. I just can't, especially this one being at home.
Yeah.
Can't see it happening.
All right.
Ohio State for 7. Rutgers at Maryland.
I got Maryland for 5.
I have Maryland for 4. Illinois at Northwestern.
This is my 7-pointer. I got the Illini winning. What is it? Lincoln's hat or Lincoln's trophy or Land of Lincoln, something or other. I got Illinois for 7. Northwestern's not a good football team.
I have Illinois for 6. I think the last 3 weeks has made Illinois mad, especially this past week with the way that thing ended. So I think they roll pretty easily against Northwestern. Illinois for 6. Minnesota at Wisconsin.
The battle for Paul Bunyan Axe. I got Wisconsin for 1, and I guess just because they're at home.
I also have Wisconsin for 1 for that exact reason. Yeah. Purdue at Indiana.
I got Purdue for 3. They're 10-point favorites. I think they're the better overall team, but something about this game just worries me. I think it's because Indiana beat Michigan State, and coming back from 24-7, maybe if Michigan State blows them out, they're just lifeless even for this game. But I don't think there'll be much of a crowd. I know it's Thanksgiving weekend. That's kind of ruined the crowd attendance down in Bloomington, especially for this rivalry. But they are handing out free student tickets, I did see. So
Nice. I have Purdue for 3 as well. I think they should handle them fairly easily.
I hope so.
Michigan State at Penn State.
I got Penn State for 6. Yeah, they're not. Michigan State's not making a bowl.
I have Penn State for 5. So
I'm gonna let my dog out real quick.
all right. Elsewhere around college football, top 25 matchups we have on Friday. NC State at North Carolina.
Yeah, this game lost some
Did.
hype. NC State lost to Boston College 2 weeks ago. North Carolina lost to a Georgia Tech team that's beaten the last 2 years.
Yeah.
There goes any shot May had at the Heisman. But give me North Carolina to bounce back.
Yeah, give me North Carolina at home as well. On Saturday, we have Oregon at Oregon State. Both teams are ranked. Oregon State's 23rd.
Give me the Beavers in this one.
Oregon squeaked one out at home against Utah over the weekend. Give me Oregon on the road, though. Can TCU win against Iowa State? They've been playing with fire here recently.
Yes, they can. Magic's on their side right now. They'll take it into at least the Big 12 championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, give me TCU as well. Did you see how few people were at Texas A&M's game in the second half against UMass?
Yes.
It was pathetic. They host LSU. Give me LSU.
Yes, Brian Kelly and LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Last one here. Number 18 Notre Dame travels to the LA Coliseum to face USC.
I think this will be a lot better game than we thought a month and a half or so ago, but give me USC. Too much to play for.
Give me USC as well. They're 5-point favorites. I think USC wins. So, last week of college football, unbelievable.
Yeah, next week will be conference championship week for our predictions, and then we'll probably talk maybe some coaching vacancies that are open, and maybe we can predict who we think will go where. Rumor is Deion Sanders has been in talks, quote unquote, with Colorado and South Florida. So we'll see.
That would be interesting. Yeah. 3 winners, 3 losers in the NFL.
One of my winners is the Dallas Cowboys.
Me too.
They went into Minnesota and just put a stomping on the Vikings. And then, last week I was like, I was ready to pull the trigger on the Cowboys being my NFC representative in the Super Bowl, and then they did this. Well, then they go out and do what they did yesterday, and I'm like, thinking about doing it again. So, yeah, really impressive.
This is why I haven't been a believer in the Minnesota Vikings. I know they won in Buffalo. They have a negative point differential, and they're 8-2. That's not a great sign for future success. But they keep winning. So,
yep.
Cowboys are also one of my winners. But Tennessee Titans going into Green Bay. Titans have, on paper, yardage-wise, the worst offense in the NFL. However, they're first in a red zone touchdown percentage, so that evens it out. And going in there, looked like Green Bay was going to kind of turn things around after beating the Cowboys, and Titans took it to them.
The Packers are D-O-N-E done, all caps.
Done. Yep, absolutely.
Another one of my winners, a team that's got red hot lately, has a win record of 6-5 right now, the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they played the Houston Texans yesterday, but they put it on them, and Carson Wentz isn't getting that job back. That's Tyler Heineke's job. Carson Wentz will be looking for employment with his 4th NFL team next year.
The Commanders, it seems like their energy level has spiked when they heard that Dan Snyder might sell the team. So
imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. My last winner here, Kansas City Chiefs coming back against the LA Chargers.
Knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. They have a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning sort of air around them where you just feel like they're going to come back every single game. But all these teams I saw, the AFC West spent almost billions of dollars to try to take down the Chiefs, and it's over by Thanksgiving already because the Chiefs have running away with it.
You have Chiefs fatigue yet?
Yeah, it's been there for a minute, but I kind of the fatigue has gone away because I have Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce on my fantasy team, and that has helped me actually want them to play well. So
yeah. My last winner, because I don't think I've put them in a winner this year. Maybe the last 2 years on this podcast. The Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah, they whooped on the New York Giants, back-to-back wins. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to crawl back into the playoff picture or anything, but maybe Campbell will save his job for another year.
I think that that seed is getting a little cooler than it was. Yeah. They're playing decent football, and I wouldn't be surprised. They usually play okay on Thanksgiving Day. I wouldn't be surprised if they give the Bills a little bit of a game there.
Me either.
3 losers.
Oh, the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, that's a given, I think. I mean, just the way they got whooped. I mean, I've been having their backs on this podcast all year long, and I still think they're a good football team, but that was a poor showing yesterday.
That was embarrassing, yeah. My first and second loser, the New Jersey football teams.
I have the New York teams, or quote-unquote New York, yeah. So.
Yeah, the Giants, I have not been a believer in them all season. I think they're a bottom 5 team in the NFL, and they're 7-3. They've been
That's quite a statement. That's quite a statement.
They've been very fortunate to be where they're at. And I will go on record and say they missed the playoffs after starting 7-2. I think they're trash. Daniel Jones is terrible. Saquon Barkley's good, but other than that, they're not a good football team. And then the Jets, if they want any hope of making the playoffs, they have to go to Joe Flacco.
Well, Saleh said today he's not making a commitment on the quarterback yet. So
the Jets had 2 yards of offense in the second half against the Patriots. Yeah. They averaged 2.77 inches per play in the second half. And then after the game, they asked Zach Wilson, "Do you feel like you let your defense down?" And he goes, "Nope." Sounds like his teammates are turning against him already.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's not going well for him there. And they're 6-4, they're still right in it, but they're dead last in the AFC East. That's how good the East has been this year.
Mm-hmm. Both East, AFC and NFC are really good.
They have to go to Flacco, in my opinion.
My last loser, I'm doing it again. The Denver Broncos. Embarrassing yesterday against the Las Vegas Raiders. Not only do you get swept on the season by Josh McDaniels, but you're the first team not to score at least 20 points against the Las Vegas Raiders all season.
Hackett's done, man.
And he's done. He's done. I was surprised he wasn't done today, but actually I don't think they'll fire him until after the season. What's the point? You're going to win 1, maybe 2 games, if that, on the rest of the schedule. Why fire him? Just wait till the end of the season. And, he gave up play calling duties to Clint Kubiak. Offense looked better in the first half, but same old in the second half. And even at the end of the game, I wasn't as mad with the call of a pass play on 3rd and 10 after the 2-minute warning, even though the Raiders had no timeouts. The first down wins you the game. I was more mad at Russell Wilson for going ahead and throwing the ball when nobody was open. Just slide down and take the sack, and you run 30 seconds more off the clock, and then the Raiders only have a minute 20 to get down and try to kick field goal instead of a minute 50. That's a huge difference. Awful game management once again, and once again the team loses a one-possession game, and now they're 0-3 in overtime. Colts, Chargers, Raiders, and Devontae Adams whooped Patrick Surtain, unfortunately, on that play, and just an embarrassing loss overall. 6 straight to this awful Raiders franchise. They've lost 13 straight to the Chiefs, and that's not going to get better. Chiefs are going to whoop them 2 times this year yet for 15. It's just, this is a bad organization right now.
If the Broncos had scored 18 points, at just 18,
I know,
right at 18, they'd be 9-1.
I know, and they did release Melvin Gordon today, which. Kudos to the guy to always facing the media. I will give him that. He's a pro's pro when it comes to that, but can't hang on to the ball. 5 fumbles this year, and really, and they're always in the red zone. Seems it just kills them. You can't do that.
My last loser, Chicago Bears. Justin Fields has been crowned this elite quarterback, and he's thrown 2 soul-crushing interceptions the past 2 weeks that have cost him the game. So, pick 'em. I won finally. Snapped a 3-game schneid, and I'm going to win again.
Yeah, and you had them for me right after I'm depressed after an awful Broncos loss. I'm like, kick a man while he's down. Why don't you?
That's what I do. Buffalo at Detroit, Thanksgiving Day.
Taking the Bills for 9, not taking them higher just because of what you said. Lions usually play good on Thanksgiving.
Taking the Bills for 13.
You're still going high.
Yeah, they haven't looked overly impressive here recently, though. New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys for 10.
I have Cowboys for 16. Giants trash. New England Patriots at the Minnesota Vikings.
I got the Vikings for 5. They bounce back.
I think they bounce back as well. Vikings for 8. However, this seems like a game Patriots go in and win, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Tampa Bay Bucks at the Cleveland. I almost said Cavaliers for some reason. Cleveland Browns.
Buccaneers for 7. I don't know why I went that low.
I went Bucks for 7 as well, so we
All right.
cancel each other out. Yeah. Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans.
Titans for 3. This is a intriguing matchup.
I have the Bengals for 3. I think it's a coin flip matchup. Rematch of the playoff game last year. Cincinnati went in and won. Houston Texans at the Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins for 16.
I have the Dolphins for 15. I don't think I've ever put that many points on them. I want to see Lovie Smith cry after the game. That's how bad I want the Dolphins to destroy his soul. Sounds like they might be going to Kyle Allen as their starter instead of Davis Mills this.
Oh, wow.
Week. Tua should be able to pick apart that ancient Tampa 2 there, Houston. Chicago Bears at the New York Jets.
Got the Jets for 4.
I have the Bears. I'm taking the Bears. I think the Jets are terrible. Jets have a really good defense. Their offense is terrible.
The Bears can't win games, man.
Bears for 1. I know. I picked them last week. I don't know what I'm doing, but Bears for 1. Falcons at the Washington Commanders.
I got the Commanders for 14.
Oh man, I have the Commanders for 9.
I don't know why, but
Kyle Pitts is done for the year for Atlanta. They're just gonna fold.
Yeah.
Denver Broncos at the Carolina Panthers.
Super Bowl 50 matchup. Boy, how far these two franchises
teams
have
are about the same.
Panthers for 6.
Oh man, I'm taking the Broncos for 2. I've picked the Broncos at least 8 of the 10 weeks.
I picked against them more this year than I ever have, and I'm right more than I ever have been. And I just think after how they lost that game yesterday, I don't know where this team goes. I have no idea.
Broncos for 2. Baltimore Ravens thoroughly unimpressive in Carolina yesterday, but they did get a win at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ravens for 8.
I have the Ravens for 10. LA Chargers at the Arizona Cardinals.
I got the Chargers for 1. No idea on this one.
Yeah, it's a coin flip. Who knows if Murray will be back? Give me Chargers for 5. I don't think either of those teams are going anywhere. Vegas Raiders at the Seattle Seahawks.
Seahawks for 13.
I have the Seahawks for 4, so I'm rooting for the Raiders that one. LA Rams at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Chiefs for 15.
Chiefs for 14. Rams are done. They've looked awful this year. Cup's pretty much out for the year, 6 to 8 weeks. Might as well not bring him back. New Orleans Saints at the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I think the Niners get it done to a Colt McCoy-led Cardinal team. Niners for 12.
I have the Niners for 12 as well against the Saints. Green Bay Packers at the Philadelphia Eagles, who squeaked one out against Indianapolis.
But they got it done, and that's what they needed to do.
That's all that matters.
Couldn't afford to lose 2 because then you start losing some confidence. Eagles for 11.
I have the Eagles for 11 as well. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Indianapolis Colts.
Got the Colts for 2.
I have the Colts for 6. I think the Steelers are real bad. Pickett did look better yesterday than he has in a while. So
he played pretty good 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, not too bad. Birdie Bogey here. You got any more NFL thoughts?
No, I could vent about the Broncos for an hour, but I'm not going to put everybody through that. So,
Derrick Henry scored his 10th rushing touchdown of the season on Thursday. Became the 5th player in NFL history to score 10 rushing touchdowns in 5 straight seasons. Who were the other 4 to do this?
LaDainian Tomlinson?
Yep, he is one of them.
5 straight seasons of 10 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking here. I'm so nervous I'm going to get this wrong. LT. God, think. I'm looking at the teams right here just to see if that can help me think of running
Unfair
backs.
advantage.
Barry Sanders?
Nope.
Shoot.
I'll give you 2 more guesses to get a par.
I don't know if this guy was healthy for 5 straight seasons. Adrian Peterson?
He is one of them, so you get at least a par.
All right. There's 2 more guys?
Yeah, 2 more guys.
I don't know how far was it. Marshall Faulk?
Nah. You get a par. Hey,
I'll take a par.
Sean Alexander.
Oh, I wasn't even on my radar.
Michael Turner.
Yeah,
you remember him with the Falcons?
I feel better. I feel better.
That was crazy. That's why I'm like, if you get 3 of them, you get a birdie. But,
I feel a lot better getting to it. All right.
You get
I still got a fighting chance left for the year.
Still in. Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. This episode is brought to you by the Dam Landing. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, and bread, eternal seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, Dam Landing is the place to be. Go get some food at the Dam Landing, 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester. Thanks for watching Tan and J-Man Show on the ISC Sports Network. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving, everybody, and we'll be back at it next Monday with another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show. Go eat some food.